Hangzhou's fall is just the beginning for China. The flames of fury, factory fires, and worker unrest in China.
It's all covered in today's China Truths.
Can you believe it? In the past, countless people dreamed of coming to Hangzhou to build their careers, yet now there's barely anyone left. Hangzhou, once hailed as a job seeker's paradise, has become a quiet, almost deserted city. People used to say that once you arrived in Hangzhou, you'd never want to leave. It was the province with the highest income in the country and the capital of Zhejiang. As one of China's 6 ancient capitals, it was also home to Jack Ma and the Alibaba Group, and the city with the most internet celebrities. But now, it's desolate, with only a trickle of foot traffic. Laoxi Street, which used to be packed after work hours, now has half of its shops shut down. In 2022, Hangzhou welcomed 172,000 new residents. But this year, only 146,000 came. Friends, take a look at what used to be the busiest shopping mall in Hangzhou. Everything is closed. The second and third floors are completely deserted, like a ghost town. The first floor is now just a play area for kids to play badminton. Everything is shut. No one's left in the mall. Even if you want to rent or transfer a lease, who would take it? A few stores remain open, but they're on the verge of collapse. Hangzhou, with its rich history spanning over 2,200 years, is one of China's 7 ancient capitals. Marco Polo once called it the most splendid and beautiful city in the world. The saying, "Above there is heaven, below there are Suzhou and Hangzhou," captures people's admiration and longing to visit this place. Yet, in recent years, with China's economic slowdown and rising unemployment, countless traditional shops have shut down, and Hangzhou's economy has taken a sharp nosedive. In today's program, we'll take a real look at the current state of Hangzhou. It's truly tough. The current situation in Hangzhou is that 60% of business owners can no longer afford to pay wages. It sounds unbelievable, but I was just having a few drinks with people in the same industry, and everyone was complaining. It's no longer just a few small companies going bankrupt and drowning in debt. Even many large corporations are laying off staff. Small companies are even worse off, barely surviving day by day. Whether they can make it through this year is still a big question mark. In Jiasha, where I work, if you walk into the office buildings, you'll find they're nearly empty. These past few years have been truly grim. Every industry is struggling. Business owners are just trying to scrape by, patching up one hole with another. And if even the bosses are in this much trouble, how can we workers hope for anything better? The pressure in Hangzhou is truly overwhelming. I had just finished work and was heading out to buy something. As I stepped out of the elevator, I saw a long line of delivery riders waiting for orders. Among them, a young woman. I could tell she'd been doing it for a while. Otherwise, she wouldn't have lasted. Delivery work is much tougher than most jobs. That scene hit me hard. The pressure here is immense. Just overnight, Hangzhou has changed. It has changed so much that there are no factories left. Everywhere you look, you see workers pulling suitcases, searching for jobs, and the unemployed are everywhere. In truth, workers are no longer picky. As long as there's food and lodging, air-conditioned rooms, and a monthly salary of around 5,000, 6,000 yuan, they're willing to work. But even with these basic expectations, they still can't find jobs. If a company needs 5 workers, 50 people show up. If it needs 10, 100 apply. Most companies in Hangzhou now prefer to hire women. Single men with no companions are finding it extremely difficult to get into any factory. Stop blindly glorifying Hangzhou. If people keep romanticizing it, more will be left frozen in place here. I've been in Hangzhou for 2 months and still haven't found a job. Online, people even joke, the most tragic way to die in 2025 is to come to Hangzhou looking for work. Yes, Hangzhou has a nice environment and convenient transportation, but the cost of living is ridiculously high. Renting a single room costs 1,000 to 1,500 yuan. A simple bowl of noodles downstairs costs 20-25 yuan, and a delivery meal is 20-30 yuan each. Monthly living expenses easily exceed 3,000 yuan. For ordinary people like us, no degree, no background, no education, we can only earn around 5,000 yuan a month. What's worse is that even for such a salary, you still have to wait in line for your turn. Some people can't even get an interview. Can you believe it? I find the job search experience in Hangzhou quite bizarre. I don't know if you've encountered this. On the Boss Job platform, you have a great conversation with HR. They say you're a perfect fit and ask when you can come for an interview. I say, sure, I'd be happy to. Then I politely ask, may I know the salary range and social insurance benefits? And after that, silence. No reply. When I exit and re-enter the chat, I see the message has been read, but no response. You'd think a read without reply situation is bad enough, but what's worse is 8 out of 10 HR reps do the same thing. Can you imagine it? It's as if over 10 million residents of Hangzhou have suddenly stopped eating. People working in the food industry say there are no customers. Everyone's just buying vegetables and cooking at home. Vegetable sellers at the market say customers are now ordering groceries through apps. Delivery drivers complain they're not getting as many orders as before. Some say everyone in the city has gone back to their hometowns, but people returning from Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou claim their hometowns are also deserted, like scenes from a ghost movie. What's even more bizarre is that this phenomenon seems to be happening in cities all over the country. So where have all the disappearing consumers gone? Delivery workers blame pre-cooked meals. Pre-cooked meal manufacturers blame community group buying leaders. Group buying leaders blame near-expiry food stores. This blame-passing chain has gotten so out of hand that even national economists can't make sense of it anymore. This year, a large number of people have really left Hangzhou. It's certain that 100,000 to 200,000 residents are gone. The once bustling villages within the city are now eerily quiet. Rental rooms that used to go for 200, 1,300 yuan are now available for just a few hundred, and still no one rents them. Honestly, I have no idea where everyone has gone. Will the economy improve next year? According to some online users, the current closure rate of brick-and-mortar shops in Hangzhou has reached 80%. What does that mean? It means that if a year ago you walked down a street and saw 100 stores, today only 20 remain. And even those 20 aren't doing well. The owners are just struggling to hang on. As China's real estate bubble bursts, Hangzhou's property market can no longer hold up. Not only are housing prices plummeting uncontrollably, but there is also a massive number of homes that no one is even asking about. Do you know which residential area this is? I'd guess 99% of Hangzhou residents have never even heard of it. This area used to sell for 8 million yuan, and now, just a little over 2 million. That's a 50% drop. The houses are beautiful, all pre-built, with each unit having a private garden of about 100 square meters. On top of that, buyers are given an extra 40 square meters of land to grow vegetables. It's actually quite an ideal place for retirees in Hangzhou to come and live. Can you believe it? The residential complex right next to the subway station in Hangzhou's Shihu district behind me. Back in 2020-2021, you had to scrape together over 1 million yuan to buy a home here. But now, the developer is so desperate they're practically on fire. With just 260,000 yuan, you can buy a fully furnished, move-in ready house. Just bring your suitcase and settle in. The truth is, homes in Hangzhou now simply can't be sold. Currently, the total number of new and second-hand homes listed for sale in Hangzhou exceeds 360,000 units. Do you understand what that means? If you visited 10 houses a day, it would take you 100 years to see them all. Don't be fooled by the hype around certain new housing projects with flashy lottery sales. In reality, many are undergoing crazy price cuts. A 10 to 20% discount is common, and in some places, It's even 30 or 40%. As for older homes, the situation is even worse. Many are being dumped for volume. You think your area isn't affected? Wake up! The listing prices may not have dropped. They may even show a slight increase on Bike, a real estate platform. But the actual transaction prices have crashed miserably. If house prices keep dropping like this, many families in Hangzhou will truly collapse. Right now, at least 1/4 of households in Hangzhou are effectively bankrupt, with debts far exceeding their remaining assets. The reason? They bought homes at sky-high prices a few years ago. Have you noticed the terrifying trend happening now? The number of foreclosed homes in Hangzhou is rapidly increasing. Some are worth a few $100,000, others several million. Due to job losses and changes in business conditions, these homeowners can no longer pay off their bank loans. And even selling their homes won't be enough to cover the debt. In reality, the gloomy situation now seen in Hangzhou is also emerging in other cities across Zhejiang province, and even spreading to major cities throughout China, becoming a new economic reality. Under the unstable policies of the Chinese government and mounting pressure from U.S. tariffs, Zhejiang has arguably suffered the heaviest blow in the trade war storm. It's been almost swept away. In 2024, Zhejiang's dependence on foreign trade reached 58.4%, with trade with the United States alone accounting for as much as 71.4% of its GDP. This means that for every 1,000 yuan of GDP generated, 710 yuan is closely tied to trade with the U.S. The lifeline of the province's economy is tightly bound to the American market. Now the cold wave of the trade war is hitting hard, pushing many businesses in Zhejiang into losses or to the brink of bankruptcy. Some companies, unable to hold on, have given up and chosen to stay down. In Ningbo, as many as 80% of small, medium, and micro enterprises face potential collapse this year. Even businesses with annual output values ranging from tens to hundreds of millions of yuan are struggling to make money. Over 50% are actually operating at a loss. On paper, their gross margins might show 30 to 40%, net profits 10 to 15%, and books may claim profits of several million or tens of millions of yuan, but in reality, actual profits might be less than 100,000 yuan. Currently, 85% of factories are losing money, 10% are breaking even, and only 5% are still profitable. It sounds unbelievable, but you can go and see for yourself. This year, the notion of one person, one job is almost gone. Now, one person is expected to do the work of two. Women are being treated like men like beasts of burden, and bosses are expected to perform like superheroes. As for us, the wage workers in Zhejiang, how much longer can we hold on? People say wages in Zhejiang are high, but after traveling all this way, we've come to realize there are many wolves but little meat. Zhejiang this year is nothing like before. In the past, there were plenty of jobs to choose from. Now there are fewer and fewer, and the more you choose, the worse it gets, with salaries getting lower and lower. That's why so many people arrive in Zhejiang and still can't find a job even after 10 days or half a month. Honestly, it's not because they're being picky. It's because the era of 100 people fighting for one job has truly arrived. Today, I went to the night market at Luting in Yiwu, setting up a stall to sell goods again. If I don't set up, I'm afraid of missing the chance to make millions, but if I do set up, I can't even earn enough to cover the stall fee. It's hard, really hard. Every year is harder than the last. It's already past 10 p.m. now, and the place is still deserted. No customers, about to shut down, about to go bankrupt again. Can't sell anything, truly can't. Everyone is just scrolling on their phones, on the verge of bankruptcy again. The flames of fury, factory fires, and worker unrest in China is no longer simply the image of bustling factories or vibrant neon-lit streets. Instead, thick black smoke now rises from industrial zones where overworked and underpaid laborers, pushed to their limits, have turned to arson as a desperate form of protest. One of the most shocking cases occurred at a textile factory in Pingshan County, Yin City, Sichuan Province. A 27-year-old worker, nicknamed Brother 800 by internet users, set the facility on fire after being denied 800 yuan, approximately $111, in unpaid wages. The blaze lasted 37 hours, ultimately reducing the factory to ashes. After the factory owner refused to pay and an accountant was reportedly stabbed, the worker declared, "We're all going to die anyway," before starting the fire. This tragic incident quickly became a powerful symbol of widespread worker frustration. Similar events have erupted across the country. In Chongqing's Gaojia industrial zone, a warehouse was set ablaze after employees had gone unpaid for months. Another case in Pinghu, Jiang Province involved a packaging factory where labor disputes over wages led to a fire. Authorities labeled the workers' demands as malicious wage-seeking, a term used to discredit organized labor actions. Videos on social media captured thick black smoke, explosions, and fire trucks rushing to the scene. As one user, Li Yang, commented, "These fires aren't just destroying factories, they're a warning that the people have reached their breaking point." Such incidents have intensified, particularly around the Lunar New Year, when many workers cannot afford to return home. The frustration has gone beyond arson. Protests are becoming more frequent and more coordinated, with workers learning from one another and spreading unrest that has proven difficult for authorities to manage. Another report described a fire at a factory in Taikang, Jiangsu Province, linked to a long-standing labor dispute. Feeling abandoned by both management and local officials, some workers resorted to destructive actions. While a few eventually received overdue wages, many others were detained for disturbing public order. In response, the authorities have increased police presence and strengthened online censorship to suppress footage of protests and unrest. Nevertheless, public discontent continues to simmer. As one online comment put it, "When society starts cheering for Brother 800, it's clear that trust in the system is crumbling."
China Merchants Bank Beijing branch cries a matter of life and death internally, reports deleted. The economic slump in China is exerting strain on the financial system. Recently, an internal memo believed to be from the China Merchants Bank's Beijing branch, named Proposal for the Beijing Defense Battle on Corporate Deposits, found its way online. This document states that as of March 10, there was a plunge in the branch's corporate deposits exceeding 80 billion yuan, about $11.07 billion, from the last year, placing it at the bottom of the pile across all branches. This precipitated a rallying cry for every member of staff and the executive team in the branch's wholesale division to engage in the so-called Beijing Defense Battle. Here, corporate deposits are understood to be the funds deposited by businesses and organizations into commercial banks on a credit basis. The rhetoric used in the memo is dramatic, employing phrases such as Beijing in crisis, darkest moment, a fight for survival, and if we must die, we'll die standing. The document also praises the branch's historical performance, highlighting its once remarkable achievements of increasing deposits by 100 billion yuan, about $13.94 billion, annually, reaching a record-setting deposit volume of over 1 trillion yuan, and at times outperforming major state banks like the Bank of China and the Agricultural Bank of China, thus becoming a standout symbol in the banking system. The emergence of this memo set off a flurry of online debates. Netizens have expressed concern, noting that if China Merchants Bank, a front-running commercial bank, is facing such challenges, then the predicament of smaller and mid-sized banks is likely even more dire. Some have also pointed out that the Beijing branch's rock-bottom ranking in corporate deposits has laid bare the financial distress in the CCP's capital city. On March 25, the Hong Kong-based Phoenix Finance covered the story, citing a customer service response from China Merchants Bank that they were urgently verifying the veracity of the memo and promised to announce the findings at the earliest opportunity. Instead of the bank's findings, what followed was a comprehensive blackout of the memo across the internet. Even the related articles by Phoenix Finance and the mainland's financial world were expunged. However, some self-media commentaries with vague wording on mainland portal websites have remained available. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.